What's up, dude? So, this is our episode of Thoughts on Thoughts. It's Thoughts on Gaming in the Industry, which we have our awesome guest, Ellis Davie, here.
Hello.
Man, coming up with this idea on doing a podcast, especially on gaming right now, man, I couldn't think of anybody better in my group of friends than to have you on the show. So I'm so glad to have you, dude.
I'm honored to be here.
It's gonna be awesome. So like I said, our theme for this episode is gaming in the industry.
Right.
It's a whole bunch of stuff just recently just went down. It's happening. Of course, me and you, I've known you for so long now, and we've done so many different types of games and all kinds of different things, like even before we knew each other.
Yeah.
So I think having you as a guest on this particular topic is going to be
Should be
spice
fun.
of life.
Should be fun.
That's where the gourmet dinners are going to be. But anyway, for everyone just tuning in, it's like I'm your host. I'm Cruz. This is going to be awesome. I'm just excited. My cohort here, Jaime. And then, of course, our wonderful, wonderful guests, which will be changing every week depending on what our topic is. But today, all the light is on you, sir.
It's on me.
You are our awesome guest.
Okay, well, like I said, I am honored to be here and to discuss gaming.
Yes, it's going to be awesome, man. So, speaking of, like, what is your favorite game? Like, I don't think I've ever asked you.
It's, like, obvious is Kingdom Hearts. The best franchise of all time. Like, for me, it's ever since I was a child, I would start that game over every single day because I didn't have a memory card.
Oh,
so
Jesus!
I was
Christ,
stuck
dude.
on the island perpetually, and then I finally got older and was able to finish it. But yeah, that just became.
You finally get a memory card?
Yes, finally got a memory card.
So you're able to turn off your system. Oh my gosh, that's cool. Oh man, for me, my favorite game series, I guess, is Darksiders because I like the lore of the Four Horsemen. That's like my favorite thing. Anything to do with death, like himself rather than dying, is just really cool.
Right.
That's why my gamer tag is Rider of Death. I got it from the concept of the second game before it came out.
Interesting. I never knew what that was about.
Yep. It was a trailer to the second game, and one of the characters was like, "I see you, Rider of Death."
Right.
And I was like, "That sounds so cool," and I changed my name to it. But then it got cut out. It wasn't actually in the game. I was like,
so
what
now it's just your thing.
It's just my name.
That's awesome.
I was like, what the heck? But it's super cool, and that's one reason why I love that name so much. But because it's semblance to the Four Horsemen.
I remember that trailer. It was the coolest thing ever. I was like, dude, this game is gonna be so bad.
Right. And speaking of, the third one just came out.
Right.
You can follow Fury. The third horseman. She has this really cool chain whip. It kind of reminds me of Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Okay.
But and her hair reminds me of like Super Saiyan 3 almost, because when she powers up, she gets all crazy and her hair starts to glow and get all powerful. But it's super cool.
I've heard nothing but good things about that one so far.
And Steam itself says it's mixed reviews, but it looks awesome, and it's been so long since Darksiders has come out.
Right.
I still have yet to play it though. Like I've been waiting.
What are you doing?
Just podcasting,
Fair enough.
getting ready for it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's the next thing I'm gonna tackle as far as games go.
Cool.
Is Darksiders, but yeah, so that's my favorite series,
Right.
and I honestly can't think of a game or even a series that's better than that as far as video games go.
Yeah.
That would be my favorite.
Right.
And
I think the only, like, for me, like, objectively, every generation, whatever God of War is released is the best game of that generation.
That's a very good point.
It's not even my favorite. I just think they're the most well-designed games ever.
Man, you played the God of Wars, right?
Yes.
Dude, do you remember when that first God of War came out?
Mm.
And you're just like, you sat there, I think it was a PS2, I believe, PS2 game?
Yeah.
You sat there and you're like, what is this? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, doing these puzzles and fighting gods.
And
like,
you're hooked. Immediately, you're hooked. It's insane.
it's so fluid. That was like one of the most fluid games that had ever come out.
Right.
And I just remember me and my cousin, we rented it from Blockbuster when Blockbuster was still a thing. Except for in Alaska. I guess they still have one.
Blockbuster in Alaska.
They still have it in Alaska.
Supposedly there's a Blockbuster that still has like the actual like membership card and you can actually get stuff. Right.
That's
Supposedly.
crazy.
It's got to be like a franchise or something.
I don't know what's going on, but ever since Redbox and Netflix came out, man, it just killed that place.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hollywood Video too is another one.
Right.
Anyway, getting off topic. Sorry. But we rented God of War when it first came out, and me and him stood up. I think it was a total of 22 hours. We were like, I don't know, 13 or 14 maybe.
Right, yeah.
22 hours and beat that entire game.
Jesus,
we just played through it. We're like, what is
the
this?
entire time?
The entire time.
That's crazy.
We had a sleepover or whatever, and we
Right.
did it, and we were just playing it. We'd switch off between puzzles, and if we died too many times, we'd switch off. And,
Yeah.
dude, that game was so sick.
It's like the first fight with the Hydra. They always do like some big, like a big spectacle at the beginning to show like the scope of the game. So like when you see that Hydra for the first time and you're fighting it within the ship, and it's like it's nuts. It's nuts. It's just so way over the top. You never see a game play, you know, that cinematically in real time, especially in the PS2 days.
Oh yeah.
So it was like incredibly revolutionary. I think the only game that came close to that actually was like Kingdom Hearts 2, with like the cinematic battles. Like you'd be doing combat, and then you know you do the reaction commands.
Oh, the quick time.
Yeah. And
Did Kingdom Hearts 2 have quick time events?
Kind of. You did reaction commands, and then like it was just you basically mash triangle for it, and some of them you had to pay a little more attention to.
Yeah.
They did get very dynamic and cinematic within that. But
Yeah.
then you get all the clones that come out afterwards, and they're not as good.
Not as good. Well, I think I played up to, as far as God of War goes, I played up to like a third one, and I don't even think I completed the third one.
The third one is mechanically phenomenal. I didn't care for the story too much.
I think that's what dropped me, because I love the story part of it.
Right, yeah.
But I didn't get back into it until this most recent one.
It's amazing.
Dude, didn't that win Game of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, every time God of War comes out, it wins Game of the Year.
Well, I mean, this one
Yes.
was a freaking movie. It was a cinematic like masterpiece as far as games
and
go.
it was the same guy who directed 2, which was a fan favorite
Okay.
for the God of War community. So it was good to have him.
Dude,
come
this
back.
one was amazing. Even
Yeah.
the twist ending, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't played or anything,
Right.
but boy being Loki.
Loki, yeah. I'm like, what the hell? And now his whole attitude throughout the course of that game makes so much more sense to me, because he becomes a little shit. You know?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
like-
But I mean, you blame him? Look who his dad is.
I mean, yeah, it's Kratos, but it's a much more calm Kratos. We're not just, you know, killing random civilians to get, you know, done, get through a puzzle anymore.
He thinks about it before he actually does it.
Right,
But I mean, when he has to, he's in action, and damn, I
Right.
love his axe too. His
Oh
axe is
yeah, that's
awesome.
the Leviathan. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like if you, like that's one part of the game that I didn't really get to explore that much. But like the combos can get really crazy, because you like if you throw the axe into someone, and like if you launch them, you throw the axe up there, you can continue comboing somebody else, pull the axe back, and just it's so unreal. Trying to explain it's not going to do it. You have to see the visual.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the whole point of that game, is
Right.
because it's just visually so
Stunning.
mind-blowing and gorgeous, and you're like, am I watching a movie or playing a game?
And
Which it's just an interactive movie.
It completely changed genres too. Like God of War was just a action adventure game, and it switched over to being an RPG title, and
Yeah, it's a good
they
point.
did it really well.
And it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah,
It was perfect.
yeah. It's like you can see this.
Beyond all other words, like it was a
Yeah,
perfect
like,
game.
Like, definitely 10 out of 10. So
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Or 0 out of 1. I don't know. That's a joke. Sorry. Well, that's funny. So, what's your favorite genre then?
Action RPGs.
Action RPG?
Yes, hands down. It's,
Which leads back to Kingdom Hearts.
yeah. Well, I
Would you
mean,
consider that an action RPG?
it is absolutely an action RPG. It's like, especially the first one was like, they took all the elements of like of Final Fantasy, like you know the menu and the magic and the summons and all that, and they just put it in real time. And that's why that one's a little more clunky than the rest, because they were still trying to figure out that formula. But I think once you take into account the strategy that RPGs allow for, and then you add elements like speed and distance to, and you know skill and timing to that, it just adds a ton of depth to what was already there in your standard RPG.
Yeah, definitely. And man, and the feeling and stories you get from playing games like that too, like you really know it's an immersive game when you're like, you play it for hours, and like when you stop, you're like, whoa, like you just came back out of that world.
Right.
And the Kingdom Hearts is definitely one of those that does it, like by far. The first one was the most memorable one for me, for the simple fact of like, I've never seen anything like this.
Well, yeah, I mean, whoever thought that Disney and Final Fantasy would have a baby, you know?
Right, and then look at what's coming out now.
Right, yeah.
Are you looking forward to the third one?
Absolutely. It comes out 2 days before my birthday, so I'm like...
Dude, it was made for you.
Right. It's the same with like Final Fantasy VII that came out on my 5th birthday. All these games were just destined to be in my life.
Just destined. That's awesome, which is funny, just because I always correlate different games. coming out around certain people's birthdays, and this is their game. This was made for
Right.
them. You're like, even though it was like just coincidence,
Right,
sheer
yeah.
coincidence.
Sheer
You're like,
coincidence,
yeah. But that leads me to another point, is that being game designers, the thing that was always especially taught to us by one of our teachers was creating fun, making fun.
Right.
So on the side of fun, what in that game, in Kingdom Hearts in itself, draws you to it? Like, what is fun about it to you?
So when I was younger, it was the spectacle. Like their animations made everything felt really vibrant and explosive. And like when you're a kid, those kind of effects draw you in. Nowadays, I like the gameplay because of the challenge. Like if you play Kingdom Hearts on a critical difficulty, it's 2 hits and you're dead typically. And having to take something like what some people see as a button masher and play it on a like an incredibly high level and understand it on a underneath the hood, the mechanics of the game. I think once you have to figure that out, that's what's fun to me.
Yeah.
Like putting effort into being good. That's but I don't think that's typical for people. Like, do you want to work for your fun? I do.
It depends. And that's one thing I've come to learn, is that when we're trying to figure out like how do you create this fun, it's like well, it depends, because fun is different to every different person.
Yeah.
And each game is going to affect a person differently. Like
Right.
Kingdom Hearts, like, yeah, this is amazing, but there's some people like, well, what's that?
Right.
And you're like, what do you mean, what's that?
Right.
But like, oh, cool. Why is he a toy? Why is Woody there all of a sudden? You're
Right.
like, oh, well, then you have to explain the universe,
the whole
and then
universe,
you get excited, and they're confused.
Right. Yeah. Especially with that, because the story is incredibly convoluted. But I have a coworker who he doesn't want to be challenged at all in the game. He wants to, if he could play a game on God mode and not be harmed, he would. And so he plays all these sandbox games where, there's literally this game where you just build ramps and you take a car and you shoot it off and you see how messed up you can destroy the car. And it's just little things like that, because he does not want to lose. He hates losing so much. He gets so salty.
It's an escape too.
Yeah.
For us, from our world now, and what? I can't drive down. I mean, I can, but I don't want to drive down the highway. At blazing fast speeds, crashing into everything.
Right.
Well, death.
But at the same time, I don't when I game, I want to get away from reality as much as possible. So doing that's why things like GTA and Call of Duty or sports games, they never appeal to me, because it's too close to our reality. Even though you can't just go out there and shoot and get shot and respawn, but it's still
by the way, I want a tank and it just fall from the sky too.
Right.
Or the money hack, man. That would be the money hack would be super awesome.
No, that would be awesome. That's one thing I'll take.
And then money would be worthless at that point, because if everyone can do it.
I mean, I suppose so.
It's everywhere, but I don't know. I mean, it's probably relative.
Right. What makes a game fun for you?
It depends, and I like that challenge, but I think I like the challenge differently than you like it. I love, recently I've been playing a lot of indie games.
Right.
A ton of indie games.
Right.
And the two that I've been playing the most have been Pummel Party.
Right.
Which is a gory version of Mario Party.
Right.
And I just tried for the first time last night, Human Fall Flat. Have you ever played that?
No.
So basically, each one of you, it's you can play up to 4 players, I believe.
Yeah, right.
You're like a rag doll. Yeah. And you're solving puzzles together.
Right.
But the controls are so weird and creepy. It makes you feel kind of weird.
Right.
But it's fun because you start to solve puzzles. They're like, okay, put this block on this button. Right. So one triggers this arm, and it just goes straight out.
Right.
And then the other triggers that arm, and it goes straight out. But if you look up, he'll raise his hands. If you look down, he'll look down.
Interesting.
And then you'll click onto the thing, and then you just carry it and then drop it. And so you're like, oh, that wall's destructible. I can move this pipe out of the way. I can put this piece of wood in here and push open the door.
Interesting. It's really learning mechanics as you go along to solve the puzzle.
Yeah, and then the way it teaches you, your tutorials are not necessarily conventional. Mm-hmm. It's not just like a here's a tutorial on how you do this.
Right.
It's still a video, but you find it in the world. You pick it up.
Right.
And then the video just appears in the sky.
Interesting.
And you're just looking at it oh, and the narrator's voice is super chill and super funny, and you're just all right, as soon as you drop it, the video turns off. Yeah. But my favorite part about it, and me and him were talking about this earlier, was if you fall off the map or you jump off the map or whatever, the seamlessness, it teleports you and you just fall back onto the map.
So if you're falling, say this is a table, or the surface, you just fall off. You'll fall off in the sky. It doesn't even seem
it feels seamless. You just keep falling and you're boom, back on the ground. You're whoa, what?
Weird.
It's cool.
It's like kind of like Super Meat Boy, right? Where you just get to retry immediately.
Something like that, and it even comes into play as a mechanic later. You had to set up a fulcrum, a little like a seesaw, and I jumped off and I realized I kept falling in the exact same spot. I'm like, oh crap! So we set up the seesaw and then I jumped off and I fell, hit this thing, and it launched the other guy onto the next part of the map, and then it saved, and you can respawn. Like once somebody gets to a certain point, you can just die and it'll spawn you in that area.
I think the dynamic of puzzle solving, even just with a team of characters, is interesting within itself. I've never heard of a game.
Right.
I'm sure there have been games doing that, but I've never heard of it.
And it's just a little indie game. Like I think there's 6 levels when it came out. They just gave us a free level for over the holidays called Dark. It's like they're super generic names. But it's like a haunted mansion. We beat 5.5 levels yesterday. And yesterday was the first day we even owned it.
That's awesome.
So we're like, this is cool. And then we got real stuck and real tired. We're like, okay.
We're done here.
It's time. That and then but the other indie game was Pummel Party. And what makes that really fun is that I like Mario Party and that board game aspect. But I like doing mini games and being rewarded for it. The cool part about this, though, is that it was gory and scary, and you can die.
Weird.
We're like, what? And so when you play it, like the very first map we ever played was the graveyard level. And it's a graveyard. There's little pieces everywhere. There's zombies. If you land on one of the bad spots, a zombie will eat you and it'll take damage. And if you die, you go to a spawn point and lose a bunch of your coins, which are keys in this game. And the whole purpose is you go around and collecting goblets. But each map has a different form of a goblet. So like in the graveyard one, you unlock trapped souls. And in the pirate one, you find treasure chest, whatever, generic. And you go around. If you have enough coins, you can pay for it and get it and be better at the game. Whatever. But the cool part about this one is that there's a serial killer. He acts as the 5th player. And so I take my turn, my buddy takes his turn, the 2 bots take their turn, and then the serial killer gets a turn. And I was like, what is he doing? He's big, scary monster. He's like wearing overalls and has like a big sword.
Jason Voorhees.
You're like, okay, what's going on here? And so when we first started, I was like, that thing is scary looking. We figured it's a boss, so we're like, okay, there's no way we can beat it. We just got to avoid it. And then we're like, I wonder how many spaces it moves. Then we find out it doesn't obey the laws of the board game. It can move wherever it wants, so it just starts walking. We're like, oh my god. We found out that it does have a certain distance, but we don't know what it was because
they don't tell you.
Yeah, it's not a board piece. It just moves. As soon as it gets to you, it does immediately full health of damage. It just kills you.
That's nuts.
You lose all your keys.
Gorio Party.
Gorio Party. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But the best part about it is that it was walking up to a bot. We're like, oh, we're betting on how it was gonna die. Like it's gonna die, and it stopped right in front of him. Like he ran out of movement. The next turn was that guy to go first. He pulled out the shotgun weapon, shot the serial killer in the face, and it killed it. We're like, you can kill it? We're like, what the heck? And so me and my buddy Ryan were just like, holy crap, you can kill it. So then we start throwing bombs and all kind of stuff and killing it, and it takes like a turn or two to even respawn in. But it was so awesome. We're like, okay, not as threatening anymore. Now that we know we can damage it, because we're still learning how each of the weapons work and stuff like that too, or the items. But it was just a cool little game, and I love indie games.
You get so much innovation in indie games because they're not limited by big budget companies saying, hey, you can only do these things because this is what sells.
This is what sells. Which it's true. It's true. I mean, there's a reason they have marketing. I mean, Nintendo owns children.
Yeah, that's true. That's a weird way to put it. They own your kids.
They do. I mean, what kid doesn't know Mario?
That's true.
Or Yoshi.
That's true.
Right?
Oh, my daughter just got a Switch for Christmas.
See, there you go. Nintendo owns you because of your kid.
I didn't get her the Switch.
Hey, she's still your daughter and she got a Switch. I bet she'll guaranteed you'll be buying games eventually for it.
Eventually.
See?
Yeah.
There you go, they got you.
More than likely.
All because you have a kid.
Right. They got me as a child too. Pokemon.
Dude,
too much.
Seriously.
Too much.
Yeah, like talk about nostalgia there.
Right.
Freaking Pokemon. We were talking about, at work, the what's the oldest game system you can remember loving and playing? Well, I've had all of them from Atari up because my mom had an Atari.
Interesting, yeah.
But the one that I remember the most was the old school gray brick Game Boy.
Right.
Remember that big ass thing? It was like green, like the screens were green back then.
Yeah.
So that was the most memorable one because that's the one I used to play the most. Because that was Yellow. I think I played Pokemon Yellow on that.
See, my first one was the Sega Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog was my favorite game back then.
Oh yeah, dude. Sega was your first system?
Yes, Sega Genesis.
Wow, I didn't know that.
To my knowledge.
Oh yeah, I think that was my first system too. Yeah.
Damn.
And then it was like we had an N64 for a little bit, and it was on to PS1 after that, and that's when my love for Square Enix kicked in.
Oh yeah, totally. Square Enix, your love for that, plus that was the breaking point between the old generation and the upcoming new ones.
Yeah.
Because then other studios started dying, phasing out, being bought.
Right.
Dude, and I missed that. That was another topic we talked about at work about games was do you remember how diverse it used to be? There were so many different companies. They all had their own IPs.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, or the newest games. You had like 5 different game systems.
Right. Like, so the PS2, I feel like was the golden era of gaming. Like, you could literally go to the game store and pick up almost anything and have a great time with it. And that's because back then there was so much innovation. Like, you just and nowadays, if you haven't heard about it prior to it coming out, you can't just go to a game store and pick something up and expect it to be good.
Yeah, seriously.
It's gonna 9 times out of 10.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. Yeah. Unless you've been hearing about it for years prior to its release.
Even that's a little scary. Like, it's a bit like, what's the newest one coming out? Anthem.
Anthem.
I've never heard of that.
Dude, so Anthem is coming out. It's the newest, best, greatest. I think it's even a AAA title technically.
Yeah, technically.
Even though it's the first of its brand, of its IP.
Yeah.
But you have these things called javelins, and basically they work like Iron Man suits. Mm-hmm. So you have different types, like a ranger. You have I think it's called a colossus, like the big tank. You have I don't know what the mage is called, but it's like focuses more on magic. But you have armors. Completely customizable, which is cool. I want to get it and make an Iron Man suit. Awesome. Basically, that's all I want to do. But you can fly. The world looks amazing, gorgeous. Supposedly, you can roam it and see like.
Now that you're describing it, I'm pretty sure I have seen the trailer.
It's been around. It's been around more so recently because it's so close to coming out. I believe it comes out in March, and the beta happens February 17th, I believe. Nice. Something like that. But it's coming out really soon. It looks gorgeous, but this is actually the first like AAA title I'm excited for.
Dude, this year I have a lot to look forward
AAA's?
to. Yes.
Besides Kingdom Hearts, I'm guessing?
Besides Kingdom Hearts, so there's that's the first one that's coming out. It's KH3, and then what is it? Sekiro is coming out this year.
That looks cool
too. It's like a Bloodborne Tenchu hybrid.
Yeah.
Made by Miyazaki, the same dude that did the Dark Souls and Bloodborne series.
Yeah. So that's gonna be hard.
Yes, it's gonna be hard. Yes. And then Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh damn! I forgot about that one was coming out too.
So you can basically choose the way that you level up. You can choose between being a ninja or a samurai, and I'm obsessed with ninjas. It's been a thing my whole life.
I would never guessed.
So I cannot wait for that one. And then Lost Soul Aside, which I don't know if you remember that, but the guy Yang Bing, he created a trailer a couple years ago. It's literally a one-man project in Unreal, and it looks like a professional. It's basically like Final Fantasy 15 meets Devil May Cry kind of. That's coming out. We talked about
this in class. Yeah. This guy made this game. It looked like a Final Fantasy clone, basically, but it was one guy. It looked gorgeous.
It was phenomenal.
Steve showed us it a lot. It was super cool.
Sony picked that guy up, gave him a team, and now that game has a...
Whoa, he got a full team.
Yeah.
Through a company, a huge company.
Yes. Yeah, so he's getting...
And what's it called?
Lost Soul Aside.
Yeah. That's coming out,
It's coming out this year, yeah.
This year?
This year.
Well, I mean, how much work he did on his own?
Well, yeah.
How long of a time...
He was working for, I think, 2 years on this, because he was inspired by the E3 2013 Final Fantasy 15 trailer.
Yeah, okay.
And so, I think he released that trailer in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So it was, he'd been working on it for 2 years at that point. And it just goes to show what hard work can do.
Yeah, he was persistent. Can you imagine that? The way that game looked before, it's Sony, you said?
Yeah.
Before Sony picked it up, the way that game looked, it looked like he already had a team.
Right. Yeah. No. It was him. Just him. And now, if you see, they had live demos at the last E3, and
of that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they have you can watch 10-minute gameplay videos now on the demo, and it looks gorgeous. You have a bunch of different weapon types you can switch to and stuff. The animations, the character's so freaking cool. So he just very stylish in the way that he moves. It's phenomenal, dude.
That's cool. I'll have to check that one out then, because I didn't realize that was him, the same dude.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
All right, I'll have to check that one out. Man, that him being so persistent like that, even with us on our game, it is unbelievable. because it absolutely is. I mean, even with us. So, and you've seen the game we've been working on. Yeah. That was, like 4 terms in the making at school.
Right.
Even before I graduated. Yeah. And the way as where that started and where that is now, even to what we're still wanting to work on and change on it, like that took a full team. There's no way I could have done that on my own. Yeah. Let alone one of us. Like he designed 2 of the levels.
Right. 2 the tutorial. Yeah.
You did the full tutorial and then the moon base, right? Yeah. So we did that, and then even the very first level that I ever made, which is the lava level, at the beginning, he's going to go back and remake because there's so much we learned in that whole process.
Right.
And we had a team of 20.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts. How do you get a team of 20 people in this?
This is Cruise.
So it was partially that, but it was just very like everything happened to fall in place.
Right.
It just happened to fall. So the very first intro into like my first game build by myself was in Unity engine.
Right.
And I made this cool badass game or whatever, and it actually functioned and worked. You had enemies that would chase you, find you, do damage.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was like basic, super easy, one level. Then the next term, we went into the advanced version of it, and we got a teammate. Right. So my teammate Dylan, or my partner Dylan, who became my partner, me and him had similar games. They were different enough, but we were helping each other.
Right.
And so we became a team, and then we just started developing this game. And then the next term went on, it was time for the team, like the demo game studio teams. What's the term for it? Team production classes?
Yeah. Okay.
And we started gaining more people. Right. And so the teachers were like, okay. He's like, we're going to make groups. If anyone wants to volunteer to be a team leader, you can, especially if you have something already in development.
Yeah. Right.
And so the very first team class I went on to, I missed the first day because I totally forgot what the starting day was.
Yeah.
So I got put onto a different team.
Okay.
The following term after that, found out that my team leader didn't even want to be a team leader. I was like, you should have told me.
Right, yeah.
But she ended up being on my team, and she's an amazing character designer.
Okay, awesome, yeah.
Even though I made her do just regular 3D objects, it really pushed her limits. She's like, okay, I got to wrap my head around this. But I walked up to the front of the class. I was like, here's a game I've been working on with a couple people so far, and we'd love to make it more. If you feel interested in working on this game, let me know.
Right.
And we showed the preview of what we had at that time, which was nothing compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
It was nothing. It was 2 levels. It was the warehouse and the lava.
Right.
Yeah, lava,
Yeah. It was nothing. It was crazy. And so you put it up there, showed a demo. I'd even did a little walkthrough or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, cool, I'm Cruz or whatever, and this is the game.
Right.
And then the next 2 people went on, and I can already hear people. I heard him.
Oh, yeah.
In particular.
Oh, yeah.
Him just like, yeah, I'm gonna work on it.
Because I was in that class before when you and Dylan were working on it, and then of course I tested it, the slow mo,
which was awesome because he was one of our first testers before he even worked on the game.
Right.
And his computer wigged out. Right. And everything ran super slow.
Right.
I don't know what happened to the computer, but it just started functioning really slow.
Right.
So everything was like slow
motion. Yeah.
And I'm like, I like that. Yeah. That's cool. Came back a week later, I made it a game mechanic.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like it's awesome when like mistakes end up turning into features. Like, I like how that worked out.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Exactly. Right. And I even came back and I was like, and thanks to, and I just like pointed at it, I was like, thanks to you, your computer, because I don't even think we really knew each other back then.
No, not at all.
We added it as a game mechanic, and like, what? And I was like, it's an easy little blueprint you can make to make time slow down.
Speaking of which, it's crazy how versatile those blueprints are, because it turns you can come into the game as an artist, or come into game design as an artist, and all of a sudden you're quote unquote coding. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Yang Bing, the dude that did Lost Soul Aside, he's just an animator. Like he's an animator.
That's why he looks so freaking good.
So he's an animator, but he did the whole game in blueprints.
I wish I was an animator because I would have made my game look even better. Right. But that's cool, and that's the beauty of the blueprints. Like when me and Dylan first like when they switched to Unreal Engine, they're like, what have we been missing?
Right.
We felt so good though, and so humbled that we learned Unity first. Because if we learned Unreal first, we would have never touched Unity.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me. Is I learned Unreal first and never touched Unity because I got an internship at Ilphonic, and I had to learn the engine in 2 weeks before I got the job.
Oh, I remember you telling me that actually. Yep. Yeah. I remember that.
But,
and that makes total sense. And I remember when we learned Unreal, and then we started learning it in class. Yeah. We're like, oh my gosh. And our teacher even told us too, he's like, this is why you learn Unity first. You can appreciate what the game engine can do, and you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Not necessarily the hard way, but it's a little tougher.
Because
Unity's easier when it comes to like just getting into the game industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And because Unreal's intimidating, man.
It's a whole lot of stuff, dude.
And it looks so pretty, so you're like, oh, I don't want to break anything.
Right. Yeah. But luckily, they've got a good series of tutorials on YouTube. It's a very intuitive series. Like
even Udemy has a bunch of online classes. Have you ever heard of Udemy? Yeah. Has a bunch of really cool online tutorial classes that I utilized a lot of when I was learning how to officially code and do kind of stuff like that with our game.
Right.
And it was nuts what Unity or Unreal can do.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It literally is. But you can. The funny part is I feel like a snob sometimes when I'm looking at games or trailers or whatever like that. I'm like, that's Unreal.
That's Unreal. Yeah, no, I feel you can see it. You can definitely see it. Like that's why I was so surprised when I saw like the FF7 trailer. I was like, no freaking way that they're putting this game on Unreal, and like then you see the Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah, you see that?
Are you kidding me?
Speaking of that logo too, that was my favorite moment is that I learned how to put that logo at the beginning of my game, or our game, really, and it was like, here's our demo of our game, and we hit play, and most people you hit play and their game would just open.
Pop, right.
Ours would go Unreal, and it like shook the room. Because we had some really good, not good speakers, but we had speakers regardless. Awesome. But it shook the room, and then it faded away, and then our game opened. That's awesome. And we were the only ones. So we were one of the only ones to have a game menu in this class at that point in time. Yeah. First off, a menu in general. Right. Second, ours moved. Ours was an actual video.
I remember you showing me that actually.
Tunnel. Yeah, it was just awesome. And it was super generic, just like a little endless loop tunnel that you're kind of flying through space. Right. But it moved, and it had sound, and it had the Unreal Engine logo, and that was like, every time I saw that, I'm like, that's cool. Everyone was like, how did you do that? I'm like, just a video, dude. Like, I'll show you. It took like 10 seconds after I took an hour to learn how to do it.
Right, yeah. That's how it all works. Like, it takes hours to learn how to do, and then everything's easy after that. Like, when I was first learning how to put, terrain, deal with terrains and level design, it took forever to learn how to plug those nodes in. And nowadays, I feel like if there's, here's this thing, that thing, you just brush here, and we're good. We have a level.
Yep. I mean, that's a big reason why Jaime's going to remake the lava level. Right. When we first learned and made that level, we were using all primitives. Right. So I blocked out the whole thing in squares. Right. What? Actual cubes.
Why?
Because my engineering side of my head, I wanted to count each block and made sure that it was equal, because I used a grid paper. Right. So I made sure it was exactly the same size as my grid. Right. So I counted every square. Oh my god. And then I went in. Tedious. It was, don't get me wrong. And I textured every single square. Yeah. Only the faces I needed, but I textured each and every one, and then I changed it slightly here and there. But now, back then, it was like, this is freaking cool. Right. And then Dylan made his warehouse level, blew mine out of the water. Immediately. He had the best level, no matter, hands down. The lighting was gorgeous. Yeah. And then on future levels, or future classes, I added more things, like falling leaves, because it was overgrown. Yeah. So I all kinds of cool stuff, right? And birds and all kinds of crazy shit. And so his became even better. Right. I made ash falling from mine, which is really cool, but mine still felt weird and looked weird. We finally figured out what it was, that we learned what our aesthetic was. Right. And it didn't fit. I see. It was so blocky, and you could tell it was primitive. Right. Like everything was edges, 90 degrees. I see. Okay. So then when we did the warehouse, we're like, no, this feels like a level. Mine feels like it was Minecraft wannabe. Even though it looked a little bit better,
more polished than Minecraft,
a little bit. But he's gonna take it over now that we've focused our aesthetic on what it did. And his moon-based level is gorgeous. Right. He modularly built it. So he had individual walls and tiles, and then we figured out we gray boxed the whole thing out. Yeah. Then he built the level. We added all of our lights and our sound, and
that's sick.
I was so intimidated. I don't know why. I guess it's just because my first level, but I mean,
your first official level.
Yeah, I mean official level. I mean the tutorial level was also my first official level too.
But that one was a lot easier because you already knew start. Yeah. Finish, it wasn't just a world.
Yeah, but I mean that moon just going from grayscale or the
gray box.
Yeah, the gray box. I was like, I don't really want to touch this because I'm gonna mess this gray box up. I'm like, I'm gonna mess up the flow of this.
It went through 4 or 5 iterations too. Right. So we did the gray box, and so we did the level map, and then we did the gray box. We're like, yeah, this is gonna work. Yeah. It was a combination of 2 things, I believe, right? 2 different maps.
2 different maps, yeah.
So we couldn't put decide. And we're like, that'd be cool if it was all of it. Right. Yeah. And so then we started to map it out, and I think you did the gray box on it as well, right? Yeah. You did the whole thing.
Yeah, the entire thing.
Yeah. He gray boxed it out, and he's like, this took me forever just to gray box it, and all it was some floor and some walls. So I was looking at it, I'm like, this map is huge.
It really is.
This map is really big. Like really big. You dropped in the character, we're like, okay, yeah, run to that corner. And it was like
so slow.
Like super fast
30
running,
minutes
but
later.
we're like, okay. And I was like, let's cut back. So then we started cutting things out, adjusting things.
Right.
And then we ended up just having a moon base.
You know, I feel like that's normal among level designers. Just like as soon as you first get into the tool, your levels are always way too freaking big.
Yeah.
Because like
it was massive.
Yeah, I remember like I even did something small, like just making a small, building on the other side of the map, and had my character run to it, and it was like, dude, it took like 10 minutes for him to get across that map.
That's what it was on that gray box in there too. So we dropped the character in just to see what he had built, and we're like, holy
crap, I was showing you, it was like, if you look in this corner, just give me a couple minutes while I hop over there.
And then we're like, well, why don't you just move the character? So we just moved the character to the starting point, and we realized, why are we doing this? So then, of course, we cut it down, and then it became what it became, and then we textured it. And that was probably the hardest project you had in that entire school.
Yeah, honestly. The entire school, yeah. Honestly.
As far as game stuff went.
Yeah, and I mean, that wasn't even required. That wasn't even like, hey, do this minimum. I, like, blood, sweat, and tears in that. Honestly.
And you can tell, and the funny part, too, is that one reason why I really love game design, especially level design in particular, the little Easter eggs you can add that are just for you.
Oh, no, yeah.
Guess what he did? Tell him I meant.
Oh, well. You can't see it unless you're looking above, and you can't look at it above because your character's on the ground. Yeah. So there's some boxes, and you just boxes laying around for I guess for cover and whatnot. Yeah. So if you look above, I put my initials. I put my initials
out of the boxes. I was the one that was testing the level, and I was jumping on these boxes. Not even. He was just laughing the whole time. Yeah. I'm just jumping. Why are you laughing? I'm not even dying. And he goes, I'll show you. And he got out of the example, or the play test.
Right, yeah.
Moved the camera up. I'm like,
yeah, there it is.
I was like,
I signed the level.
I signed it.
You did. You literally did. And I was like, it's too good to take out.
Right. It's true, yeah.
It's too good. But there was that, and then we got the actual enemies working, and I threw him into his level just to show him.
Right.
Dude, that level went from like night and day. It looks gorgeous, but with the actual enemies in it.
Right.
It was so cool.
Was it weird? Like, did you get like frame rate drops and stuff when you started putting in?
That was the best part.
Really?
The way I wrote the code for the enemies, it knew how many to spawn, how many not to spawn
per
wave that you went. Because ours is like a wave-based game.
Yeah.
But the way he built his level, being so modular and precise, everything was already like a good poly count, that kind of stuff like that. Yeah. His being technically the second biggest level we have in our game, is the fastest, smoothest running level we have in our entire game. The biggest level being the graveyard, and unfortunately that one is the slowest running at the moment because the poly counts are a little on certain spots. The lighting needs to be tweaked a bit.
Yeah.
But that's the only other than that, that's it. The way he built it, and we did it, we started from the very beginning. We built it specifically like, do this, do this, do this. And we did, and it was, God, we were stressing, we were crying, we were excited, everything. We had every emotion in the book. And by the time it was done and completely turned it in for the grade that we got out of it, dude, it was good enough that we showed it at Denver Comic Con.
That's awesome.
So
see, when I was working on F-13, the biggest issue I had was the frame rate because we have these really you're on Camp Crystal Lake, so you have these really dense forest areas, and so you have all this foliage around the entire map, and it just bogs the system down. So like having to go in and figure out exactly what to do to get that frame rate running smoothly, which I ended up just removing a lot of the lighting on some of the smaller foliage.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
At that point, I mean, for game designers, they make cool.
Like my first time level design, I got no fucking idea. I was trying to change everything.
Definitely. So that leads me to a really good point that I wanted to bring up, especially with both of you, but you exactly. So CES just happened, which is the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA had an amazing showcase. They showed off their newest graphics card. It's called the GeForce RTX 2060.
Okay.
So RTX 27. So NVIDIA graphics cards have each generation has 3 models: a 60, 70, and 80. And then variances from there.
Yeah.
But it's basically the cheaper consumer brand, the mid-grain, and then the high end. Right.
Yeah.
their older ones were GTXs.
Right.
These new ones are called RTX because they do ray tracing.
Interesting.
And I don't know how much about ray tracing you know.
I have no idea.
So remember all those problems you had with lighting?
Yeah.
Remember those problems you just had with lighting?
Yeah.
Gone.
Awesome.
Literally, because you don't have to bake the lights in.
Right.
It does it real time, and it makes reflections work.
Are you kidding?
No.
Okay.
Reflections work.
That's amazing.
And so, NVIDIA did a demo. Or they did, it was not even a demo. They did an hour and like 45 minutes presentation on their new card, showing the ins and outs of this card. Right. They're like, this is what RTX can do. This is what it can do. It's powerful. It does that. They showed us demos. The best one, the two. Let's see. Really, the best game and the only one that can really utilize it to its potential right now is Battlefield 5. And so he's like, let me get in there. He jumped into it, and he goes, see that puddle on the ground? We're like, yeah, and it's RTX off. He has his friend is piloting the tank and it shoots fire out of it.
Right.
He's like, what do you see? Just a puddle, no big deal.
Right.
RTX on. He goes, looks at that. His friend shoots the fire again. You see the reflection of the fire. That's real time, live in that puddle. He moves around and the guy keeps shooting. Reflections in the windows are reflecting off of everything behind him. Because normally when it's rasterizing, anything in the view of the screen is what you can see. And so when they mocked up the reflections, for example, if I'm looking at you, I can't see the back of you, so I can't process a reflection because I don't see the back of you. With ray tracing, I can.
That's nice.
Because it follows what actual lighting does. The other cool part about it, not only is it making reflections and lighting work better and faster and more efficient, shadows.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you've seen for example, a primitive pipe.
Right.
And you have a light coming. For example, if we're using the skylight here.
Yeah.
Then it just makes a
straight line.
Straight line behind it. It's dark. You know, it's a shadow. Cool.
Right.
Still looks a little cartoony. That's what they were saying. Especially I think the exact example he said. It looked cartoony.
Cartoony, yeah.
With RTX, especially with an area light, it was coming down. It's like, but the area light's bigger than the pole.
Right.
There's light coming from both sides.
Right.
Normally, the game engine doesn't know how to focus that.
Right.
RTX does.
That's awesome.
So it makes the umbra and the penumbra, which is the soft edge of the shadow and the dark one, work together.
Interesting.
It looks like a real shadow.
That's awesome.
And so then he's like, here's the best example, and he showed a face. He goes, if you use RTX on it, you can actually capture more human-like face now. Because all the little...
So games are going to start looking ridiculous at this point.
I have a friend who's an architect.
Right.
And I've been pushing her and through her boyfriend to get into game design because she's getting bored with just the regular architect stuff as far as what I've been told. And she's really interested in level design because she can design buildings that no one has ever seen before. Like if you put it into a game level, everyone's gonna see it, and you don't have to spend the money on the actual materials.
It's
cheap, right?
Cheap,
But
as
soon as I saw that RTX, that NVIDIA showcase, I messaged him. It's like, your girlfriend needs to see this right now.
Right.
So okay, I was like, she loves lighting. That's her favorite thing in the world.
Right.
So, I sent her the video. I even edited. I downloaded the whole video and edited just the demo parts. So I could send it to her. Sent it to her, and he texted me back. She goes, she's a little blown away right now. I was like, I know it's amazing. She goes, no, the card's amazing, but she's blown away that games couldn't do this before.
Oh, interesting.
She's not a game designer.
Oh, yeah. So, like, she doesn't... There's a lot more limitations there than you get with movies and stuff. Because
exactly. And she comes from architecture.
Right.
So she's designing buildings and just making it so that they can be built in real life. She doesn't care if it functions in a game properly. But now that she's thinking more about that, she's like, games didn't do this before? I'm like, holy crap, yeah, I guess I didn't really know that. But it's crazy. And then I sent him it. And him being my freaking level designer, I'm like, dude, look what we can do. He goes, holy crap. And it's a seamless, it's as easy as pressing a button. So you get that card, you just turn it on.
What? Just switch.
See, I'm like incredibly jealous right now. Like, so weird question for you, Jane. I mean,
You're good. No, everybody does it, man. Everybody does.
That's so weird. Anyway, do you walk around the world and like when you're on a level design streak, do you see like how do you think in Unreal when you see things? Do you see like how you would build
in real life?
Yes.
Sometimes I try to think about it. Like I think about that thought, but then when I'm actually out, I don't. I'm just like I'm like driving and so man, I can really think about how to build that off of that building or something like that. But then when I actually get there, I'm like, whatever. Just do my thing and don't even think about it.
Oh man, like back in the day when I was doing level design, I was anytime I'd walk anywhere, I would be like thinking about how to build like the street block in Unreal, like everything in my mind. It was just
You know what's funny about that? That's how I think every single day.
That's awesome.
And it's only because I'm like, I can make that, and here's how. But it's me explaining it to me, which is kind of weird. But like, I have a new concept idea I want to work on.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be a huge part of it because he's the level designer.
Right. Yeah.
He's the level designer.
The level designer.
But I want to make an escape room game.
Right.
And I love escape rooms. Escape rooms are so cool. But I used to play the old Flash games, like on Newgrounds, whatever that website was called, where it was just like a point and click. You just turn the corner, click, 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 like looking for stuff, you find a key. Oh, cool, what does this open? Opens the safe. What's in the safe? It's a screwdriver. Right. You just kind of do that until you get out.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to play those before the escape room, like the real ones were.
Right,
yeah.
And so I've always wanted to make that, even before I was a game designer. And then the real escape rooms happened, and I'm like, I can't get enough of them, dude. Like, I get in there, I'm like, I'm playing that game in real life. And I'm just like, this is amazing, but that's the next thing I want to do is make a digital one. And I was thinking too, I was like, you know, it'd be really cool. I always wanted to model my store, my grocery store I work at.
Yeah, right.
I always wanted to model it. And I always thought of how I'd model it. I can see it as a racetrack. Right. I can see it as an escape room. Because I was looking at it going like, if I was driving through the produce section, I want apples to be falling on it. I want pineapples to be like spikes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think with that question, like somewhere where you work or you live, like you've been there, like, man, I can totally design this room or something like that. I can do that. But if I'm out and I actually think about it, I'm just like, nah. But it's somewhere
doing your own thing. I love it. And I think that really helped us as a team too, because being the lead, man.
Right.
I didn't realize how much responsibility I was taking on.
You know, I'm envious of that though, because like I want to direct one day. So like having that experience is invaluable, dude.
It was
something
crazy.
you could throw on a resume.
Yeah. It really and my team was amazing.
Yeah.
Is amazing. Don't get me wrong. They are still amazing.
Right.
And I was just like, all right, cool. People want to work on my game. Like, what do I do? An overwhelmingly amount of people wanted to work on it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. So like when we did that demo, like, this is what my game is.
Right.
The teacher literally had to say, okay, you have to make it even. Some of you have to pick the other games. So we had 3 teams total, me and 2 others.
Yeah.
And he literally had to say, you guys got to split up. So and they looked at me. I was like, you guys got to figure this out.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go start working.
Right. Yeah.
But then like it came to a point where they were so like, yeah, what do you need? And so ready and eager that it made me more eager, ready to do better stuff. So like, if I fail, you fail, and I don't want that to happen.
Right.
Yeah. But it was just super funny. So then I was like nonstop, 100% just doing things in the game. And they're like, why don't you take a break? Like, I can't. I'm too hyped. I'm too excited. I want you guys to succeed.
Right.
Because where do you guys go for answers? You ask me, like, what do we do next? I'm like,
right.
I don't know. Then you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But we just went on, and then I was developing newer, better techniques to help all of us function better.
Right.
And it even blew the teachers out of the water after a while because of the way I managed the team. I was using Trello.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think it was Steve or Brad. One of the two had mentioned it before.
Okay.
They're like, yeah, Trello's cool. And they're like, yeah, here's how we'll manage teams. And one team was using Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Another was using just email.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, I'll try Trello. So I got onto it.
I organize my life with Trello, dude. Like every day.
After I learned it, I was like, done.
Yeah.
And
I was
doing so many things in it.
Right.
My teacher's like, how did you do that? Every single class period, we would just turn in and show them and be like, because he would check in on us because our teacher was our producer basically.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, let me just check in. I'll check in with the team leads, and then we'll go from there. That kind of stuff. We had our morning meeting, and then it came to the point where we were in our advanced team production, where it was only one team. It was only our team. Everybody in the class was on the team.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we had audio guys. So we had the sound studio. We had everything was custom audio. Everything, dude. It was crazy. I had my own game studio.
Yeah.
And but it was crazy. So he would check in with me. And I was like, here. I just added him to the Trello. I'm like, whenever you want to check in, go ahead.
Right, and Trello speaks for itself.
Yeah,
this is exactly what we're doing. This is when things are getting done. It's amazing.
Yeah, we turned in time cards.
Right,
like we were doing time cards because that was our grade. Technically, was time cards.
Yeah,
turn it into the producer. He's like, cool, awesome.
Right, yeah,
whatever. I had our schedule.
Right.
This week, because our classes were once a week. Mm-hmm. It's like this week, this is what we'll be starting and completing. Right. This week, all the way to the last week where it's presentations and game testing.
Yeah.
Broke it down. Step by step, and then I found out more about Trello, like, oh, I can do checklists, I can do percentages, and then I got into using Excel and Trello together, and so when I turned in a sheet to our teacher, it literally showed the percentage on increase on what we did this week compared to the last week. He was just like, how do you have time to do this and work a full-time job? And I was like, I'm dedicated to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love it.
Yeah.
So after a while, it was just like we just went to work.
Yeah.
We just had fun.
Yeah.
That's all it really was.
I'm
Like, where are you at in your level? He's like, oh, I did this, and that. I'm like, that's badass.
Right.
I need this, and that. He goes, yeah, I can do that. Oh, perfect. Cool. It was cool. It was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
But we're moving back. We took a long break since graduation this past summer.
Yeah.
Because I got burnt out.
Oh
Yeah.
You have to take a break after those big projects like that.
Yeah.
You do.
I mean, we presented it at Comic-Con, and that was the first mind-blowing thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we had players, repeat players.
Yeah. I was afraid like barely anybody was going.
Yeah, I thought nobody was gonna play it at all. But not only do we have repeat players, our demographic we found out were kids.
Yeah.
They're
Interesting.
like, hey, that's Fortnite. I'm like, it's not Fortnite.
No, it's not Fortnite.
They come over and play. They're like, this is cool. When does it come out? I'm like, at that time we had an actual solid date, but then we ran into more and more problems, of course, because you always do.
Game design.
Yeah. But we had a solid so Comic-Con was 3 days here.
Right.
Every single day, those kids would come back and play.
Right.
Play and play and play.
That's
The
awesome.
parents were just like, well, we're going to go shopping,
Just-
man. We're like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't think
We'll
they're
babysit
supposed
your
to leave
kids.
them there, but they did.
It's not really a daycare, but
Right.
Yeah. But we got some valuable testing out of it, and out of an unlikely demographic. I didn't ever
It's
speak
great
with
because
that.
kids are going to be honest. That's what's great about having kids as your test group. They are going to be brutally honest about everything.
And the biggest thing that we got out of that was that they're like, this is really cool.
Right.
What kind of other guns you got? We're
Right.
like, we're working on it. Here's what-
yeah.
We already knew where we were going.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, that'd be cool if you did a grenade here. Or this part of this level is a little weird.
Right.
And we're like, how so? And he would tell us. I'm like, oh, we can change that. That's
Yeah.
easy.
yeah.
They're not so worried about your feelings.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that was cool. Oh, the last thing I wanted to bring up with you, which is really cool, is at CES, the Razer monitor,
Right.
which is what you were questioning earlier. So
Yeah.
Razer is that awesome branded computer parts, stuff like that. I have a
Yeah.
bunch of it. My keyboard and my
Yeah.
mouse are both Razer.
Right.
They're releasing a monitor that is made for gaming,
Mhm.
and it's chroma. And chroma is the lights that I have on my computer and stuff.
Interesting. So it
okay.
does all that crazy.
The base of the monitor
You're
lights up.
You're gonna have a freaking seizure. That light.
Yeah. Maybe I already did.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I already did. But it's really cool. So that's coming out. It's a gaming monitor. It's 27-inch gaming monitor.
Right.
It has amazing, like the cords in the back of it are already going a certain direction. The neon greens look gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it's a cool monitor. That's what I wanted to bring up with you. It's a really cool gaming monitor that was at CES that happened to be along with the NVIDIA stuff. On top of the NVIDIA stuff in gaming, they're creating, I believe it's 44 new gaming laptops.
Yep.
Each one using RTX graphics card.
Wow.
And they're thin.
That's awesome.
They're
I
gorgeous.
mean, the world's getting good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As far as
seriously.
being a creator is concerned, it's getting
Seriously.
good. Yeah.
Yep. So there's that, and then I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Just
There's a lot of stuff coming
there's a
out.
lot,
Right, yeah.
a lot of crazy stuff going on. The geez, man, just everything. Gaming culture in general is amazing. Even though, Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh.
What a good way to show gaming culture in the form of the game.
It was interesting to look at the game characters as if they had lives outside
Yep.
of the game.
Have you ever thought about that though? I know you
No.
have.
I think ever since Toy Story came out, everybody kind of has had those thoughts.
Are
you
these
know what I
inanimate
mean?
objects
Right,
actually
yeah.
real when I leave?
Right.
Like ever since Toy Story 1, I treat all my stuff as if it comes alive later.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the point in those movies, actually, is to teach you to take care of your stuff.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. And I've traded everything, like my computer, my iPad, like everything. Even if it's like in the new trailer for Toy Story, it's that spoon spork thing. He's like, I'm not even a toy. I treat everything like it's a toy, but like a nice toy.
Right. No, it's like, so now when I go into practice mode on fighting games, because you know I'm a big Tekken player, and like now I sort of feel bad if I pick a character too often to be my practice dummy because of Wreck-It Ralph.
Because then he goes off. Why am I always the one to get beat up?
Right.
He's the Krillin of that universe.
Right.
That's funny.
Own count.
Yeah. But yeah, ever since like I loved Wreck-It Ralph was one of my favorite movies because you got to see like what if the game characters were just working. What if this was just their job?
Their job, yeah.
And it was
And the
portrayed
arcade
so well.
closes and they're all exhausted.
Right?
It's funny.
Have you seen the second one?
I have not. Seen it.
Without getting too much into movies, I guess.
Right.
But the second one, the arcade closes. They have a certain spot they like to watch the sunrise.
Right.
Because they can see it through their games.
Right.
They see the screen, the end of the glass. They see all that stuff like that, but they ventured onto the internet this time.
Interesting.
And it was super cool to see online games.
Yeah.
Because the first movie took place in an arcade.
Right, yeah.
And they only communicated because they were all on the same surge protector.
Yeah.
Right, but now Wi-Fi hooked up, they went to the internet, and they were able to see like online game, eBay, and like they saw everything, but the online games were really cool.
I'm really surprised at the amount of IPs they got a hold of.
Dude.
Like, how did they manage that? It's Disney, I guess. So
crazy.
Yeah. And speaking of Wreck-It Ralph, he's a summon in Kingdom Hearts 3. So,
That's right. He's in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3 that's first time, but
right, because they finally got rights to Pixar. They never had Pixar before, so now we got Toy Story, Big Hero 6, Frozen.
Is there a Frozen level?
Yeah.
Oh god, a Frozen world?
Yeah, it's a Frozen world. Hopefully there's no singing.
That look on your face.
Hopefully there's no singing.
That look on your face explains it all. Dude.
Yeah, no. Tangled is in it. Like literally, they went in on the
which is cool.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah, I did see that one. So the big question though that most people have been asking too is, what about Marvel?
What about Marvel?
Disney owns them.
So, from what I have read through Nomura, even though Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars, though they're still kind of separate. They're not. It's like they're under the same Disney umbrella, but they're in subsections that make it harder to acquire those licenses. So he says not to expect any Star Wars or Marvel within Kingdom Hearts anytime soon. I'm hoping he's just being coy and there's a surprise Darth Vader fight in there somewhere.
And your Keyblade turned into a lightsaber.
Yes.
Look at your eyes,
damn,
dude.
Keyblade.
You just went from real like to one world to like yes to another.
That's the nature of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see how that game turns out because it's been so long in the making.
10 years. Well, it's been 10 years since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. So.
Which is all that matters.
Yeah.
Because sure, the other games came out, but it wasn't the third one.
No, yeah, everybody's been waiting on that number and the big AAA production value and all that stuff. So
that's gonna be amazing. Yeah. Is there any games you're looking forward to?
Last of Us 2, if it ever comes out.
I thought that it already came out.
No, man. They're pushing it back and further back.
But that's
isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I've learned that that's a good thing.
Yeah,
because
honestly,
like, if you look at Final Fantasy 15, that game should have waited a little longer than it did, or a lot longer than it did. Because it came out as an unfinished mess.
Which most games have been lately.
Yeah.
Have you seen Atlas?
No.
Atlas is a new pirate IP. It came out, and I play Sea of Thieves. Like that's just the game I play. I love that game. I loved it when it first came out because I'm like, I just want to be a pirate.
Right.
I don't care if I can't really do anything except sail, because that's what I want to do, sail. And that's all it was a glorified sailing simulator at the beginning. Because there's only a few things to do.
Right.
But it's amazing now with the most recent updates and stuff like that. But Atlas is a pirate IP that came out. It's supposed to be the biggest, the best, the greatest thing. It's going to be a full world RPG pirate simulator. You fight monsters, like huge monsters. You get armadas. The map was supposed to be huge. Like it was crazy.
Right.
And this is kind of leads back to me. I hate feeling like a game snob, especially just because I can pick little things out that I shouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Even the trailer was glitchy.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
The trailer was glitchy, which sucked. But I was like, that's a little weird. Like, I caught it. I was like, why was that off? And I had to go back over and over and over and realize that's a glitch. That's really weird.
Right.
The game came out finally.
Glitchy?
Dude, it is awful.
I don't get why they don't just like. Well, I get it because they have deadlines, but if the game isn't finished and it's not in a playable, enjoyable state, don't release it.
I know. I don't know why or what the behind the scenes was on it, but dude. So the first thing I don't like on it, which I don't think is actually a glitch or a mistake on it, but the character creation, you can literally control every part of the body.
That's too much.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There are some weird inventions that look like these really tiny T-Rex arms. And like, God, some of those are freaking me out. I'm like, I don't know how to play because they're weird looking. Like it just breaks my immersion. And that's part of my fun is that I like to be immersive.
Absolutely.
Immersed. That's a new term now.
Right.
Immersed.
I'm gonna be immersed today in some games.
But with the character creation the way it was, man, it got so crazy. It pulled me out immediately. Like ripped me like Inception style. Like
I don't like the silly like Tekken has done this thing where like their customization items are getting wackier and wackier over the course of every game, and some people really go to the nines, you know, making their characters just look ridiculous, and that destroys the immersion for me. You know, like to me this is like this super badass martial arts tournament. I want to feel that when I play it, not you know, what happens if you throw confetti at a guy and add balloons on his back and then send him in a martial arts tournament, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
Right.
But that's definitely, in Atlas, that was the thing. I was like, I don't like that.
Right.
Like there's a lot of broken things. Like, the server was so glitchy that it would be like rubber band you.
Right.
You're like,
Jesus Christ.
And it would take, like, the time it took to actually, like, in real time to sail that was supposed to be like a couple of minutes. It took the guy, like, I believe 8 hours.
What?
And these were streamers that were dedicated to try and see how far they can get, because now the challenge of it was to play this broken game.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so I believe
the game is so broken that it's broken. It's become the game.
Yeah. So there are barriers. You can supposedly their big selling point was you can have 40,000 players all at once. But what it was a network mesh of servers. As you can see the border, and you can change into the next server.
I see.
It's really cool.
No, that's actually it's awesome.
And then it would be like red and like almost on fire if the server was full.
Yeah.
But supposedly, I don't know if it was supposed to happen though. The guy tried sailing into it, and he ran into it, and it did damage to his ship. It wasn't supposed to do that.
Interesting.
As far as I know, it wasn't supposed to.
If it's on fire, I would imagine it does.
Right. Well, it's not even real fire. It's just kind of red.
Right. I see.
But it looked kind of like fire. But yeah, it's just like he did damage. He's like, is that supposed to do damage? And he did a lot of damage to his ship.
That sucks.
And then the way you spawn in that game is in like spawn areas, which get overpopulated. So then you can't log into the game, which creates wait times to play the game. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Why?
How do you? It seems like you would have that worked out. Like, don't overpromise. Say what you want to do with something.
Right.
I think overpromising and underdelivering is a plague in the gaming industry right now.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I've been so big into indie games lately.
Right. Because they don't have to promise a damn thing, and you go into there with no expectations, and you just love it. And it's,
And I just come across, and I'm like, this looks weird. I want to play it. For example, Human Fall Flat.
And typically they don't cost much, like $5-10.
Yeah, I think we got Human Fall Flat for like $5. I got 2 copies.
Nice.
Something like that. I can't remember. It was really cheap though.
But as far as a AAA title that did deliver recently, Spider-Man.
Dude,
it's phenomenal.
Right.
It's phenomenal.
I feel like this was like the movie that all the Spider-Men are supposed to be.
Like it gave me the fix for all the movies and the game. Like this, the only superhero game that I've liked in ever, I think.
So me and my buddy at work have been talking a lot about Marvel and games. That's just what we talk about. Marvel games, like everything nerdy, right? We brought up Spider-Man. Spider-Man supposedly is supposed to be the what do they call it when it's like the first of, like it's big, like a milestone? Of the gaming cinematic universe.
What?
So supposedly there's going to be a bunch of superhero Marvel IPs. They're going to have their own universe, but it's all going to be game based.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that, and
that should have happened.
And it's kind of funny because like when you're playing the game, like he does a lot of this. He does a lot of this banter on his own. Sorry, you're good. He does a lot of this banter on his own throughout his like web slinging, and he brings up T'Challa in that process. So I'm wondering if they're gonna make a Black Panther.
Okay. They're gonna make a Black Panther eventually.
I want them to hold off on that. So I want to direct that.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, fair enough though. Anyway, what I meant though is, so how Iron Man was to the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
That's what the Spider-Man game was. It's the
first. Like the beginning of the.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So they're gonna make other one stuff, but there's a game that's been rumored and being around, and we've heard a little bit about it. And you should love this one because I believe it is. I want to say it's Square Enix also.
The Avengers.
Avengers project.
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
Yeah. I didn't know that was gonna be.
Supposed to be.
How is that possible? Because like Square is doing that, and Insomniac did Spider-Man, so that seems kind of strange to me.
So supposedly, this is just rumors I've heard, that it's gonna be like it's gonna have every single superhero in that damn game. You can do pretty much whatever like but hopefully not crazy enough where it's like City of Heroes or City of Villains or even DC Universe.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anything
because
like
that was it wasn't very fun.
I want like a legitimate like single player. Like I don't get why everybody wants to stray away from the single player experience. I think it's like the best games are, in my opinion, the single player experience was like God of War, Spider-Man, Kingdom Hearts, Bloodborne, all that. Oh, Bloodborne.
So, I don't know where Avengers Project exactly fits in to there, but
they haven't shown anything for it.
Period. But except for that tiny teaser.
Right.
But yeah. So the Spider-Man game is the milestone, or the there's another word for it, I can't remember. It's the first one.
Right.
This massive universe that's supposed to be coming along, where I want to be swinging around like Spider-Man and Iron Man just show up all of a sudden, like, hey, I'm like, whoa.
I was expecting that to happen in that Spider-Man game. Weirdly,
I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, especially because like his suit is so high tech that you'd figure Iron Man would have had to be
or even a mention.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean he does. So there is a mention in the game. There's this huge ass building. They just like they take you to all these like photo location sites. Spider-Man is a photographer, so and one of the pictures is like just huge building, and you look up, and the Avengers symbol is there. It's amazing. So it's like, I can see what you're saying. Like,
so the foundation is there,
right? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I think there's even a Baxter building in it for Fantastic Four.
Probably. I
believe I saw the actual picture of it. But it basically looks like Stark Tower, but Baxter.
Yeah, right.
But that's the Fantastic Four one. But that one's supposed to be I'm so glad it did good too.
Right. Yeah. No. It deserves all like.
Every Marvel game comes out after that is just as good or better than that.
It's held to a higher standard now. All superhero games at this point are held to a higher standard now. Because before they've always been like these low budget projects where it's like people are playing them because they're fans. But I feel like Spider-Man's good even if you don't know who Spider-Man is.
Yep.
I don't know how you can not know.
And here's the cool part about not only being a nerd and an engineer and a game designer,
right,
is that I have a bunch of friends that we can talk in basically different languages,
right? Yeah,
but fit it together.
Right.
My friend at work said, it's like, what's weird? He goes, and it's really cool, especially with the Spider-Man game, is that people aren't buying comics as much as they used to.
Right.
But now with games, you can sell a $5 DLC. It's an entire issue of a interactive comic.
You could.
So, for example, Spider-Man had this massive, huge thing, right? And now you want a certain Spider-Man story, like, say, for example, Into the Spider-Verse.
Right, yeah.
Sell it as a DLC and make it a story.
Right.
And the next one, like chapters almost.
Right.
And now it's a comic.
It is. It's just it's interactive. I've never even looked at it that way. That's interesting.
Weird, right?
And not only that, but like developers are making the money they need to because those $60 price tags, as big as it seems to an audience, it's not keeping the studios alive, which is why DLC is such a big thing.
Yeah, and that's what breaks a lot of studios.
Right. Yeah.
With those tons of Did you hear about the most recent microtransaction? I believe it was, I want to say Call of Duty? One of those shooters. They were selling a red dot scope for $1. Wow. In game design terms, that is a red dot on a texture map.
Yeah.
That's it. It was literally just a red dot. Just that.
Right.
$1.
Right.
$1. You're like, why are you what? That should have came in the game.
Right. Yeah. But there are definitely companies that abuse it. NRS being one of the biggest offenders of that. Like, I think I spent like $180 on the last Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And anytime, so now I'm excited for MK11, but I don't want to buy it right off the bat because I know that they're going to give me half a game with all this other stuff planned for that they're going to release every 3 months, and going to end up spending $120.
Get the Ultimate Edition at the end.
The Ultimate Edition at the end for $30, like I did with Injustice 2. I got it for $30, got everything.
Yep.
So it sucks that it's like now I just learned that I can't trust you guys right off the bat. I have to wait 6 months to buy your game.
Yeah. And also that trailer. What did you think about the music?
I hated the music. Oh my god.
That trailer though.
Yeah.
The trailer looked amazing.
Yes.
The music is like, why, guys? I know you guys like the Wiz Khalifa thing you did before, and it was like, okay, that fit and everything, but I didn't expect this to be a trend.
Yeah,
I thought that was just going to be that one trailer, and then we move forward and do some, where it's like just go Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go back to that.
You can
right.
You got this mumble rap.
Like it's not even good rap.
No,
it's not. Like
it was. Yeah, that
it broke immersion. Like,
oh yeah,
hard,
there you go.
hard.
That's exactly the key. So because you're seeing these trailers and you're like, oh my god, hype.
Right,
You're like,
yeah.
Mortal Kombat. You're starting to see how it looks, and then all of a sudden that song came on.
Yeah,
You're
it's like man. Look, what
I
the
can't
fuck
even
is this?
understand, man.
right. Then you're looking at it, going like, wait, what just happened? And then you're focusing on the music. And
You're
not the
focusing on the
actions.
music, and then it's like you have to like try to refocus on the fight, which of course Scorpion wins again.
Yeah,
he died.
Of course.
He died, and then
he came
and
back.
then he came back
A
and
different
won.
version of him, though.
Oh yeah, but still,
Yeah, it's
Scorpion won, and Ed Boon needs to get off of the
Scorpion hype train.
Yes, it's like, dude, let somebody else win.
Oh, I get it now, because you're a Sub-Zero fan like I am.
I'm a Sub-Zero fan.
That's why exactly why I'm getting
sick of Scorpion.
That's exactly why I'm
Like,
getting
come on, man. I know he's your favorite character and everything, but like, if we're talking logically, Scorpion should be losing those, because if Sub-Zero dies, he's actually dead. Scorpion can't die. So if him dying is whatever, he'll be
him losing shouldn't be so bad because he can't die.
Exactly. Yeah, you can let that go with the trailer, man. Especially after all these years.
Yeah, I love seeing him lose at that first part. I was like, no shit.
I was like, no fucking way. And then he just comes back. By the way, they changed his voice actor. Like,
No.
that's why the screen was off.
That's why.
And actually, the voice actor didn't even know. He just tweeted. He was like, well, that was a hell of a way to figure out that I'm not playing Scorpion in this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which
I didn't
is
even know
crazy.
that.
He does such an amazing job. Like that.
Oh yeah.
He's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Was he the original one?
No, the original one was Ed Boon.
Ed Boon was the original Scorpion?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know why I didn't know that.
Yeah. But no, he's been doing Scorpion for at least the last 10 years, and he's been
long
doing,
enough where
that get over that his voice. Everything.
So was... Oh, boy, you said he tweeted it. I was going to say,
Yeah,
so is
he
that just the trailer that he didn't voice?
He said the game comes out in 3 months.
Yeah, good point.
So
So the sound better be done.
right,
Or close to.
or close to, yeah. So he was just like, that's a hell of a way to figure out that I'm not voicing Scorpion. So
Damn.
they didn't even contact him.
Oh, that's
harsh.
Yeah,
so sad.
yeah.
Damn, well. All right, I think we can wrap it there then. Thanks, bud. I enjoyed having you.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to do this a lot more often for sure. That was thoughts on games. I think that was pretty damn good.
It was good. Yeah, we hit a lot of topics. So.
Awesome. And everybody tune in to our YouTube channel, Thoughts on Thoughts, well, our Facebook page, all that good stuff on there. And so we'll talk about some more stuff. But thanks, man. We loved having you on.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.